Welcome to Explore Local, the podcast celebrating the heartbeat of our communities. I'm your host, Anthony Genovese, bringing you powerful stories from the businesses, leaders, and change makers shaping our neighborhoods. Let's dive in. Today's episode is sponsored by VRI Homes, a trusted name in real estate for over 40 years, with a team of over 120 expert agents across New Jersey, New York, Florida, and Texas. VRI Homes is here to help you buy, sell, and invest with confidence. Ready to make your next move? Visit VRIHomes.com. Thanks for joining in today. With us, we have Joyce and Steve from homesinforeclosure.com. What's going on, guys?
Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you for being here with us.
Yeah.
We're excited. I'm very excited about this. This subject's been, just 40 years dealing with foreclosures and learned a lot in 40 years, and things have changed in the business for so many different things.
Yeah,
have
of course.
changed.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited to be able to speak about this topic
Yeah, I mean, that's
to the world. It's awesome.
That's the whole, that's like what we're here today, right? It's just everything engrossing about foreclosures. That's what we want to go over.
Right. And there's a whole new generation of people that need to learn this. So that's the great part about this, being able to share with us the history of where we've been in foreclosures and what we've done from the 90s to the 2000 and all the way up to 2020, where foreclosure industry was pretty much shut down, and now it's coming out.
And then 2024, we're a major change, which I can't wait to tell everybody about, in New Jersey with foreclosures. So.
Oh wow, I'm gonna learn something big today.
Yes, you are.
Oh man,
Hopefully.
I didn't know about that.
Yes.
Here we go. All right, so
right.
I appreciate you saying about the 40 years. Yeah, so real quick, that's the first thing I want to start on. So how long you guys been? 40 years. So that's fully foreclosures?
Actually, since I got my license in 1983. In 1985, I changed to foreclosures.
Okay.
For 2 years selling traditional real estate, and I said, what else is there in this business? So I learned about foreclosure. So 1985 on has been specializing in the foreclosure world.
There you go.
And and I started in 1990, and I was with Larry, and Joyce was there running the foreclosure division back in the 90s, and we've been working together on that since then.
Wow, so you really saw it from early on, how foreclosures have...
TARP.
I don't even know, what is that? What's TARP?
Well, that was the first issue we had with foreclosures back in the early 90s, because the government, we can go into the history of this, where Jimmy Carter started the Community Revitalization Act, and how much the government got involved with giving out a lot of loans, and how that in the 90s was the first time that the industry had a little bit of a hit, a little bit of a downside. And we had TARP, which was a government bailout to the institutions that were lending money. And, and then we went through the 90s and all the way up to 2012 and the great financial crisis of that time. But
2006, 7, 8, 9.
That was accumulation. Yeah.
I had about, being a realtor, I had a good 30 to 40 foreclosed properties, bank-owned properties, what we call REOs, real estate owned by banks. I had about 30 or 40 listings a month.
A month?
I was getting from the bank. And at the time, they would just fax me over the sheet with the address. And it was up to me. It was up to us to go, me and Steve at the time working together, it was up to us to go knock on the door and tell the homeowner, hi, I'm Joyce and this is Steve. We're from VRI Homes. Did you know that your house was foreclosed? I mean, that's how incredible it was at that point.
Oh my God! So they left it up to you?
They left it up to us to knock on the door and tell the people, your house has been foreclosed.
Oh my God! I didn't know that.
That was I mean, I think today, oh no, I wouldn't do that today. But at the time we did.
I can only imagine.
Well, there are changes today. I mean, just last month, it's more formal now, where, you've been in foreclosure for 5-6 years. You've had many notices. You understand what's going on. Now we're being asked to go there and say, all right, we're going to be ready to give you cash for keys. How do you want to make this operate? And that's kind of like your first initial meeting with the people, and you got to kind of get a good feel of, are they going to work with you? We can go ahead and talk about this maybe a little bit down, and
where
how
the
do
head's
you
at, yes.
manage the people in foreclosure?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we can talk about
Yeah,
that. I just wanted to bring it up first. Is our homepage here, homesinforeclosure.com.
Yeah, where you guys are from. Yeah, tell me your whole division.
I want to talk about that because that's where people should be going to find foreclosures, short sales, tax liens, the whole gambit is on our website. So the first thing I want to say is take a look at that website. There's an area there that you can type in a zip code, and that will bring up all of the homes in distress.
Nationwide.
Nationwide.
Correct.
Just type in the zip code. You can drill down into it. It will bring you into foreclosure.com, and they'll give you some basic information on the property. Where does it stand? Because the initial, excuse me, the initial starts, depending on the state, but I'm going to specifically talk about New Jersey. It's a 2-year process to foreclose, minimum.
Okay.
You buy a tax lien and you want to foreclose on it or anything, it takes you 2 years, and you have certain procedures and steps. This website graphs that out. We'll say pre-foreclosure, foreclosure, auction to bank REO property. So when you look at this graph, you'll know what status it is and what's the opportunity to really be able to purchase the property.
I love that.
Because those are the steps. The steps, what we call the pre-foreclosure, is when the people first get their notice that they're behind, and they know they're behind.
And how short of a time period do they get the notice?
They're at 60 days to 90 days.
Oh, wow, okay.
Is when they get their first notice that they're behind on their mortgage, and they know. And then from there, that's the pre-foreclosure stage. It started out where that was a year, maybe.
No,
Maybe.
get out of here.
6 to 9 to 10 months to 12 months. It started out many years ago.
That's how long it took for them to catch up?
No, that's how long it took for the bank after the 30 days, after this 90
days
notice. We could see foreclosures being actually the bank taking over somewhere in a year. Now, I mean, it could be 6
state of New
years.
Jersey is 2 years.
Yeah.
So, if you buy a tax lien, or if you want to start a foreclosure process, you've got to notify them and give them 2 years to pay off the debt. So, so it's a 2-year process to the date.
Okay.
So that's the pre-foreclosure. That's the first stage. When they get to that year date or 2-year date, and they haven't solved anything, they haven't worked out anything with the bank, and there's different things we could talk about a little later, loan modifications and different things they could work out. But that second step then would be the sheriff's sale. And Steve will talk about that because he attends them every week.
He's the
Well,
sheriff sales expert.
Yeah, now they're down to every other week.
Every other week. So that's the sheriff's sale. That's where the public can come and bid on the properties, and the bank is there, bidding as well, or there if nobody takes it. And after that, if it doesn't sell at the sheriff's sale, then it goes into the next stage, which is the REO, owned by the bank. The bank takes that property back and then gives it to, different entities to sell it. So that our homesinforeclosure.com is what we're building, and our broker, Larry Vecchio, it was his brainchild. I don't know. I think I was sitting in office one day, I can't even remember when, 25 years ago maybe, and Larry was purchasing homes in every town in New Jersey. And then he came up to me and he said, guess what? I'm buying homes in foreclosure. I was like, yes, Larry, I love you.
Perfect.
And so that's what we'd like to build now, a place where people can come to find out information. And we're going to be doing other podcasts to help homeowners who are in this situation.
Oh, that's awesome.
But that's what this page now is what we're building, is to give people whole knowledge that they don't have, whether it's a realtor, whether it's a homeowner, a buyer, first-time home buyers. Give them the knowledge that they need to buy these properties or take care of a foreclosure that's,
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because I know Steve talked about you can find the foreclosures to purchase and you have questions on them, but the whole nother side of the website is anyone who's actually going into foreclosure, they can go on there.
Right at the top, stop foreclosure.
Yeah, exactly. So I saw that on the website, so they can find out information on how
We
get in
can
touch with
help
you guys
them.
so you could walk them through how to
Yeah.
stop the bank from taking
And,
their
and
house.
one of the best things as a realtor that I found myself, there's people are in a position where there's only going to be a couple of avenues out. One of them may be doing a short sale, where we can list the house and get the house sold for the most money possible, without any cost to them.
And short means we'll sell it for less than what they owe.
Oh, thank you. I was just going to say, so just
Right.
explain, just in
Yeah,
case,
short
you know.
sale is to sell it for less than what they owe, and the bank agrees at that point that they will take that less amount, and then it's up to them. There's other things after that. Will there be a deficiency judgment for the homeowner or things like that? But we can discuss all of that with
their
them.
lawyer, they should try to get that expunged.
Oh, so they have to get legal counsel.
Yes, because
They
the
have-
lawyer
Absolutely.
in the state of New Jersey,
Now,
for the most part,
You know, again, not knowing anything from this world, if they are already getting foreclosed on, they don't have the finances.
right?
How do they get representation?
Because
How do they pay for that?
We're just handling one part of their
Oh, of course.
assets.
Yeah.
Just the house. They still could have a lot of other debt that they need to resolve.
But it's
So
against the house. The
It
debt.
could be liens
foreclosure
on the house,
is
yes.
a lien against an asset, the house, that we're working on. They've got to speak to a lawyer and counsel on their whole financial situation.
So let's play devil's advocate here, right? So someone's listening right now. They just
Mm-hmm.
went to foreclosure. They could reach out to a foreclosure attorney, and they
Well,
won't have to pay them.
Let's
'Cause
just
if
say
they-
this. No,
yeah.
they will.
Oh, they will at the
But
end.
Let's just say this. There really is no place for someone to go to get counseling to see what their steps are.
Oh, wow.
Which I think, through the benefit of our experience
Yeah.
over these years to determine what their next step could be, we would like to sit down with them just to tell them these are the steps and these are the people and what you should be doing. Absolutely, they should go to an attorney if they feel at that point that, if selling is not in their mind or whatever, an attorney could tell them maybe a bankruptcy might be what they need to do if they have other debts. The thing that I found, and I can bring so many people whose houses I've saved. I say saved.
Yeah.
It's just because I was able to sit with them because there's so many programs, government programs, that people don't know about.
I'm sure, yeah.
And I'm going to say, right, maybe 99% of the realtors don't know about
Oh,
it.
no,
Okay?
no, yeah.
And there's so many programs, and I found out about them just by talking to HUD and being a HUD counselor and things like that, to be able to find out that there are programs that can help people out of foreclosure that don't cost them anything.
We belong to a investment club, Metropolitan Real Estate. Joyce was up there talking about this. And it turns out another one of our members was actually working for MRU,
Yes, a mortgage
which,
company.
which is financed out of the state of New Jersey.
Oh, wow.
And he started telling us stories how, yeah, we were just trying to find people to help to get this money spent.
Oh, wow. So that's how hard it is for people to find these.
Right,
They're
and
trying
he
to give
said-
money away.
He
And
said
they
This
he was,
guy-
he
yeah.
was upset with his own company because they never told anybody that they had these programs
That's
available.
crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So it's very difficult if you can think about what's going on in your mind when you're in foreclosure, the husband or the wife and the family. And we've sit down with people who are in that position, and the kids are crying, what, I have to leave school, and the husband's like, what am I going to do, and things like that. You
Yeah.
know, so this
Tough.
is when the counseling is important, or at least to find out what are your steps that are available to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if it is a government program that's available, there was one that I found out about called IRMA,
Okay.
Emergency Real Estate Mortgage Assistance. Okay, and this is what that gentleman was sitting there.
We were talking about it in our
IRMA.
club
He's like,
meeting, and this guy is one of.
He's like, I do that.
He's a
like-
member. He goes, "Oh yeah, I was working for the state, looking for clients
he
to
said,
give them money."
yeah, because I couldn't find people to give the money to because the mortgage or the entity never told people out there this is available.
Wow.
And IRMA basically is a program that allows people to takes all their, let's say they owe their $58,000 in arrears, takes that $58,000 and pays it off. This is a HUD program. Pays off that $58,000 as long as these people are working again, and it over a 3-year period monthly, they will pay some of that back. Some of that, maybe
yeah.
500, maybe 250, 300, whatever it is, just to show IRMA that they're going to keep paying.
Oh, it's a good faith. Yeah,
And
they
it's
show
good
you.
faith that they pay monthly for 3 years. Guess what? After 3 years, guess what happens? They forgive the whole thing.
Oh, it's like a forgiveness program, just
It's a
like
forgiveness
the
program. So,
Wow.
I mean, I've been,
that makes sense.
sitting with people and telling them about this program, and the 6 people that I've gotten involved in the program who had no idea about it. So here it is. Now they're saved, their house
Yeah.
is saved and all of that. So there's so much available to these people, but I was just going to say, so I go to their house, I talk to them, and they say, come over, please, and just talk to us.
Yeah.
And I come there, and there's a stack of envelopes in the house from attorneys, from investors, from other realtors, people looking to buy or sell
Yeah.
or help them, do some sort of legal thing. And they're sitting there going, what do I do? Which one do I do? And in that situation, when it's all emotional decisions
Yeah, of course.
and not,
And these people are getting inundated. Now it's amped up to a point where you get text messages all day long. I get them myself, and
Yeah.
I don't even know why, just because I own property.
Yeah.
But
Well, everything's so automated right now, right?
Yeah.
Especially
no,
with
it's
AI.
sad. It's really sad.
Well-
and you get, once you're behind, even you're behind your sewer bill, your water bill, or anything,
Yeah.
you're just inundated with people wanting to buy your property.
Well, I wanted to bring that up. So to jump back to the beginning about homes in foreclosure, you were saying the pre-foreclosure, right?
Correct.
So after 30 to 90 days, right? They'll be tagged essentially as pre-foreclosure.
yeah, they'll get a notice.
So, but I'm saying like,
And there's something, well, in New Jersey, we have something called list pendants.
yeah,
Okay, which is a company that I work with. Actually, did I bring it? Yeah. The gentleman who owns List Pendants, Craig Lawby, him and I wrote this book
Oh, look at you.
about how to buy and sell foreclosure guide. So I'm going to give you copies. Anyway, so Craig owns a company called NJ List Pendants, and going on there, you can find every property that just had that 90-day
Okay.
notice sent. Because the list pendants is filed in New Jersey. New Jersey is a judicial state, okay? Some states are not, non-judicial, so you don't have to go through court to do everything. In New Jersey, you do. And when it's filed in the court, that late thing, it goes into list pendants, and so that's how people find out. And when these gentlemen who go on there and look, and ladies who go on and look and see that list pendants, that means a letter goes out immediately.
Well, that's what I was asking. So, because I always wondered how, like, so, being in real estate, right? People call the office randomly sometimes and be like, I want to go see this house. And we're like, what's the address? And whatever, 123 Smith Street. And we'll look, it's not listed. But on Zillow, it says pre-foreclosure. So people are like, I want to go see this house. And the normal public don't understand. They think it's listed.
There are many websites now that have all of the sheriff sales. They just pull the data right out of the database from every county, and they'll publish it. But they don't really know the status
Exactly, yeah.
between pre-foreclosure and REO, and the options for the people. The homeowners in New Jersey are very well protected, which I like.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. of course,
Everyone
yeah.
who owns real estate wants to be protected.
Yeah.
So there is a process to take it over, and it's a 2-year process, and you've got to sit down and do a deep dive, a forensic review of the property through the property tax records, and find out, how many liens are on the property, who's filing the foreclosure, and they still may have, if they speak to legal counsel, options. Like bankruptcy, 11, 7, 13. Which one?
Yeah, I think we
And-
needed four
and-
hours for this.
There could be ones. And there's a lot of things now through the decades where back in the 90s and the early 2000s is pretty straightforward, and we're getting a lot of properties and people are being moved on. And then around 2008 they talked about modifying. And now it's almost like the banks will modify your loan before they do the foreclosure.
Okay.
So a lot of them, the recent one I just did out here in Manalapan, they purchased the house in 2007, and they went into foreclosure. They modified the loan in around 2013 to a 40-year. So banks are giving out 40 years or
Wow.
balloon payments.
Because they much rather not deal with.
Right. In the first
Foreclosure.
year, right.
Foreclosure, okay.
And like in the first year, it was like $850 a month.
Hmm.
And then the next year would kick up to like 2,500.
I see what you're saying.
They then transferred it to a trust, and this is something new that I'm starting to see, where homeowners are putting more of their properties in trust, and that could cause even further delays in the foreclosure process.
Really?
So I'm learning this one. This is something new that's come up, where
Yeah, I'm sure you guys
there's
are learning
always
all the
something
new
evolving.
tricks. Yeah.
On this, but I went. They asked me to go talk to the people, give them cash for keys, and they were well aware of it, but they were a bit set off because they know they can choose their time, and they have a lot of time to work out a deal with the bank and when they want to move on.
Okay.
What I generally find when people are in this situation is generally about 3 or 4 avenues that they can take, depending upon their situation. Like we mentioned, if they still have kids in school, they may want to stay there for a year or two. But eventually, one day, they realize they've got to move on. And it could be for something better, so a better job,
Doesn't mean it's
some
always bad,
location.
And sometimes they don't know that they have equity in their property, so that money could, help them move on. It doesn't always have to be a short sale. There could be equity, especially the way the prices have gone up.
Well, I was just going to say,
A lot of them do.
I'm sure so many people don't realize. Well, to jump back to what you guys were saying before is, as soon as that, on Zillow, all these websites, it hits pre-foreclosure, and they're just getting bombarded, right, with letters and stuff. We hear it all the time.
Yes.
These unfortunate stories that, investors would be like, what? Just for instance, let's just use some numbers. I'll buy your house right now, $200,000 cash. How does that sound? I'm paying off your loan. You won't get hit with your
I
credit.
get them
all
all,
that stuff.
all the time.
But I'm saying a lot of these people, they give in because they're so scared, right?
Exactly.
But they don't know their house would sell for 500, whatever. It
Right.
doesn't
Well,
matter.
and the other, just let me just add to that.
Yeah.
It could sell for several $100,000 more, but it would take $50,000 to $60,000 to fix the house up.
Oh,
'Cause
sometimes. Depends.
The people that
Yeah.
are behind
Yeah.
have not been maintaining the property.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's
Oh, because they know you're saying that it's
They-
not-
they don't have
they don't
the
have the
money.
money.
Yeah. Okay.
they don't pay
That's
the
what you're saying,
mortgage,
yeah.
and they're not
they
fixing
don't
the
have the-
roof, and now it has a leak, and
Yeah.
it's coming through, and now it has mold.
Well, that's what I was asking
and,
about the-
80%. I'm just going to throw
Yeah.
out there some,
Yeah.
some
some Steve math.
adage,
Yeah.
and it's just, anecdotal math.
Yeah.
Water has somehow infected the house, and there's mold, and it's unhealthy. So a lot of times people are in these positions where they need to move on. So if we can help them in that respect, that's
Yeah,
good.
of course. Yeah.
To get to at least get the most that's available to them. Not that they, like we said, make an emotional decision, but
Yeah.
make a good decision based on what the values are, which is where Steve and I sit, is helping people to decide what is next, what could be next, what should be next. So when we go from pre-foreclosures, the next thing then is the sheriff's sale,
Okay.
which what I said to you about what has changed in 2024. Prior to 2024, do you want me to explain it? Or, well, let me just explain it.
Well,
Go,
COVID,
because Steve,
the
yeah,
COVID scenario,
yeah. In 20,
the government just gave themselves authorization to shut down the whole process
Okay.
and delay foreclosures across the country. So
yeah,
that
because it
that
was
really,
that cities and states, the federal government said you cannot foreclose on people because of COVID.
Okay.
Okay, then it went to the state, said you can't do it, and then the cities would say you can't do it. So there would be different times when all of a sudden it would be like, okay, couldn't we do it now? Yeah, we can do it now.
Yeah. Well,
So the governor of New Jersey changed the rules for a sheriff's sale in New Jersey
last year.
last year,
last year, okay.
2024. Okay, where the first person, typically the way it was, would be people would come to the sheriff's sale, the house would be put on the market to go or put up there for bid, and people would bid on it. Now, the first person that has the right to bid on it is the homeowner.
oh wow.
Okay,
Try to
so if
buy
the
back the
homeowner
house.
has an uncle or a friend,
Yeah, I was gonna say, how could they
and
financially-
they put together money for the homeowner. The homeowner can come and bid. He has the right of first refusal. The first person to get bid on it would be the homeowner.
Wow.
Okay, if he doesn't do it, if he has tenants, then the tenants are the next people up that can bid on it. Meanwhile, all the investors are sitting back there.
Just wait.
Well,
Yeah. just
actually, it's
waiting.
gotten more convoluted, and I'm not. It's fluid. So I don't want to say too much because I don't have all the updated information. But the governor also allowed nonprofit organizations to be set up.
That's the third people that can do it.
That can bid, and those people get the first bid before it even goes public. So now it got so convoluted.
Investors were
lining up in the morning to sign up to buy the properties.
Becoming a nonprofit when they weren't before.
Well, it's funny you said that. I was just going to say, wouldn't that cause another now problem?
Well,
Yes.
yes.
Those people are hiding behind a nonprofit.
Yes.
So now so it's the homeowner, then the tenant, and then the nonprofit, and meanwhile all the other people are sitting back there. Steve called me one day. He went to the sheriff's sale
in Ocean County.
In Ocean County, and he said, "Go ahead, you tell them." There were so many people there; they didn't know who. And then they got to figure out who was the first in the door, because that's the one, the nonprofit
It's not even
that gets
the first in the
bid.
door.
Okay.
This is where it got convoluted, where they were there at 5:00 in the morning at the sheriff's office signing up to be the first. So, so they have the right to bid for it, and like one person would take 3 properties. This one nonprofit organization, they wouldn't even go. They weren't even allowed to bid to even get more money.
They make their first bid, done.
Wow.
But now there's a lot of restrictions to it, so I don't want to say I know it all, because I don't.
Yeah, of course.
Because as the nonprofit organization, it's categorized as a low-income home for the town.
I was just going to say, so that's
there
how
are
the nonprofit.
limits
Okay.
on what they can do.
Once they get the property, there's limits.
I'm sure. I would hope
when
so.
They could,
because
I think it's how many years? 6 years before they can sell it, or 7 or something?
Yeah, I don't know the number,
Yeah,
the time. There's restrictions. There's shared equity, and it's really a detriment to the bank because they're not getting the most money possible.
Well, that's.
And that's what the lawsuits.
Oh
are
yeah.
filing.
I was just going
There's
to say.
one we saw, the one that was there one day. A nonprofit bought the property for $11,000 because it was foreclosed because of the
It was that condo fees.
Condo fees.
Oh, like the HOA fees? Oh my god.
So there didn't have to be any bidding because he was the first one there.
What?
Yeah, but it's not. But the condo had some limits on it too. So it's not like its market value was $350,000. They picked it up for 11.
Gotcha.
There's a lot of.
It was definitely worth more than 11.
Well,
No, I would assume anything
and
in
then
New
the
Jersey.
question now becomes, the way they set up the nonprofit, is it a shared equity with the owner? So that, again, there are a lot of restrictions that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, of course.
And it's very fluid. I'm surprised it hasn't come up again, because he just did this in January 2024.
Right. Well, that's why an attorney is important for a homeowner. But again, you don't want them first going to bankruptcy, because there are, wonderful, wonderful attorneys, but there are some attorneys whose job just is bankruptcy.
Oh,
You know
wow.
what I mean? So a lot of times the homeowner will say, okay, is that going to solve the problem? Okay,
Yeah,
I'll do it. When maybe, they have $200,000 of equity or something that might help them to move
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
Well, in the state of New Jersey, the banks have to use a lawyer. And the moment they're 3 months behind and they initiate that first notice, which is lis pendens in Latin, they attach their fee, which is probably a minimum like $15,000. So right there, you lose $15,000 in equity.
Wow. I didn't know that.
And once that process starts, it's like all the fees and the arrears that the bank is piling up on the property that eats away people's equity. So that's where they negotiate on a short sale. They try to ask them to wipe that out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
As much as possible, so that way the person can get some monies, some type of cash for keys.
I'm glad you brought that up, because people listening might not know what that is. So I want you to explain that, as shortly, I guess, as you can. But so just going through this, would it be better for anyone to contact you guys within that 30 to 90 days before the bank hires an attorney? Because like you said, if they get hit with $15,000 already, they're tagging it on. That could have been $15,000 towards cash for keys, or they won't negotiate within 30 to 90 days.
And it would be for them to actually sit down and just to discuss what what do I have available? What is my problem?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
when and to also see if there are other HUD programs that at that moment can help them get back on their feet instead of dragging it out for so long and then being, you know, up against the wall with what they need to do. Because there are so many HUD programs. And I'm just going to say this. The new director of HUD, I'm calling him. You know, I told my family, my goal is to reach that man and to let him know what is not being done through HUD,
Okay.
to let people know what's available. I mean, I want to be an advocate for this.
It should be, yeah.
Okay, so, you know, for Steve and I, you know, if people are finding themselves in these situations, yeah, absolutely give us a call before you go and do anything that you don't know what you're
And
doing.
they could submit that on the website?
Yes.
There's like a place that they could fill out the
Right.
information?
I guess it goes back to the thing where everything in life, and I'm not the best, is to be ahead of the curve. You know,
Yeah.
try
Yes.
to take care
Well,
of
that's
things.
what-
Do not procrastinate.
Well, I
Because
know,
the
right?
longer
But-
you procrastinate,
It's
the
anything.
more value you're losing in your equity.
But I would assume, just from, you know, you guys being in this so long, the average thing is that they feel like they're falling deeper and deeper into a hole, though.
And they are.
And it gets darker and darker, and then they feel like they
They
can't
are.
climb out. So
Right, there's no way out.
yeah, exactly.
There
So it
is
kind of
ways
feels
out.
like,
Well, there are ways out. The question, you know, what are your best options?
oh, you know what I just want to touch on because we haven't brought it up, but the consultation with you guys is free, correct? I
Yes.
just want to,
Oh,
I just want to make
absolutely.
sure they,
But-
because
and
we were
that's-
talking about
and that's the
attorneys and
value.
this and that. Yeah.
I mean, we can come out and do right now. Our expertise would be market value on your
Yeah.
properties.
And to explain-
whatever real estate you own.
Yeah.
Right.
What can we get for it? You know, us spending our money and our time
Mm-hmm.
marketing your properties. How much will you walk away with, and what does that leave you with?
Right, and also what is possible, like what are other options and things. I just want to say, as a realtor, you know, so many people have said to me, like, you don't make any money saving homes. So, because people always say to me, what's your charge, Joyce, for talking to me?
Yeah.
There is no charge. Why are you saving properties instead of selling them? I just got to say, the people that I work with, and once, you know, you give them some options, they take those options, and they're in their home now. Referral business, I mean,
Oh,
you
yeah.
can't buy that kind of
No,
goodwill.
yeah.
You know, and that's what we're about. The
yeah.
goodwill of
No, you're right,
this
yeah.
whole thing. You know what? That's what interested me with the foreclosures to begin with, is the whole idea of this is somebody's biggest
yeah.
investment in their lives.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know
they have
what
a
I mean?
family
So-
there. I mean,
Right,
the
and
house
as
is a part of your
realtors, that's
family.
what I wanted to say with realtors, which is why I'm putting a course together. We're putting a course together to teach realtors, because I often say, if you're a realtor and you don't know about foreclosures, it's like opening a shoe store and not selling sneakers.
Yeah, no, it's
You know
it's
what I
it's a
mean?
great. I mean,
it's a big part
Yeah.
of our real estate business.
yeah, it's really funny in New Jersey. I don't know how it is in other states, but you know, from me being in the industry too, it's so funny. Every avenue at least I feel in real estate, right? Commercial, rentals, foreclosures. It almost feels, well, at least the agents feel like it's another job. It was a separate job, right? They either get in there like I just dealt with someone on the phone yesterday, a commercial guy, and I was asking him about, you know, not I know the public might not know, but like a super key, and he was like, no, commercial agents don't get that, and I was like, what do you mean? You're part of the real estate board. You have access to MLS. So I'm just saying, like, people feel like they're commercial. You know, I'm doing rental listings or lease ups, new construction, or for your example, foreclosure. They just stay away from it because it feels like an animal they can't control. They don't understand. They don't want to learn. There's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
So becoming an expert in that field really
Yeah.
shines. I mean, you guys have been in it for so long, knowing everything.
So we go from the sheriff's sale, if it's not bought at the sheriff's sale, and the bank then has to take it back because there's nobody
Oh, so they
purchased.
don't. Oh, so okay. So the bank only. Okay, for everyone to understand. So if no one buys it, that's the only way the bank takes it back.
Correct.
The bank's not actually paying for it.
They'll assign an upset number.
Okay.
You know, so we want $100,000 for that property.
Okay.
Upset
So-
number means what's the number the bank needs to get.
Is willing to take.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
If no one bids up to that number, they
Mm-hmm.
take it back.
Oh, so okay. I always thought that they were bidding themselves on the property essentially because it's. Oh, okay, gotcha.
I know you'll see them bidding.
Yeah, I always
But
thought.
now
they,
they'll have representatives. I know some of them that belong to our club that they represent this one company, and they'll go there to the sheriff's sales and tell you, okay, in addition to this money, additional monies owed for this lien and water, sewer, and other
So they'll
costs.
be there just to kind of
guide
protect the
you.
bank. And,
Gotcha. So
and
that
bid up.
upset cost would involve all that
Sometimes
fees,
it
everything.
changes
So there's an
every
auto
day.
loan on it.
It changes
Okay.
every day.
Gotcha.
But they'll have some kind of number that they're looking for. So you've got to bid up to that number.
Let me just say this: a homeowner, when the bank sends the notice and says your house is being put up for sheriff's sale on August 10th, okay, the homeowner does have a right to stop that 2 times. For is it 30 days each time?
Yes.
30 days each. So the homeowner gets 2 opportunities to do something
To,
in it.
to delay
Wow,
it.
so
delay
it's called
it.
adjournment.
Even being at the end of the cliff, you still
Yes.
have
Another-
time.
another-
So
Two
they think, I mean,
opportunities,
that's
yes.
after 2 years, right? Essentially.
Or 6,
Or
or
6.
5.
So they feel like, oh my God. So they're talking about, I'm saying procrastination. They could have just been letting it go. They think they're going to lose the house regardless, right? I mean, some
Regardless.
people think that. They have
Yes.
to.
Well, they have to take
But
certain
they're-
procedures.
But I'm saying they're at the end of the cliff, about to fall off.
Well,
but you're
it's
saying
another
you
month.
still could.
They still could get
Apply.
a 30-day adjournment,
Wow.
and then after that, another 30-day adjournment.
Wow.
They could actually still pay it off after the day of the sheriff's sale for another 20 days.
Right. That's called the right of redemption.
Oh, so,
So
even if someone else buys it, an investor.
If
It's
one of
not-
those guys bought it who's an investor or
Or myself. If I put a bid down, and,
Yeah.
you know, they could still come in and
redeem
pay it off,
Gotcha.
redeem everything. I
Okay.
get your money back and everything. Yes,
Wow.
15. It's 10 days, New Jersey.
20.
20.
20 days, and then I would have when you buy a property, you go there. You have to have 20% down in cashier's checks, or I usually have the cashier's checks. And generally speaking, most of the people are using LLC, so you have to have your formation of letter on the LLC. Make sure it's in good standing, because now they're challenging all these things.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah.
At the sheriff's sale. And then you have 20 days to come up with the difference in cash. You cannot borrow against the property because you don't own it yet. But there are a lot of hard money lenders that will give you the money.
Okay.
And then once you own it, then you can go ahead and finance on it. So that's the normal way. A lot of people have money set up in self-directed IRAs and Roth. Self-directed Roths is going to be a big thing where they can use that money now instead of buying stocks and bonds.
Oh,
you
they can go and buy a house
You
for.
can use it. You can buy real estate.
Oh, there you go. I mean, the way real estate's gone up in just the last
You speak to
4 or
your
5 years,
accountant,
you would have been better off
you
than
know.
any stock market.
Yes.
So in that time period, then once it's done and the bank is nobody's taken the property or anything, it goes back to the bank.
Okay.
And then it becomes an REO.
Gotcha.
Okay, so at that point, the bank assigns a real estate agent, which is when we used to get them before. That fax that used to come in is now it's not a fax. It's a,
Yeah,
it's a phone call, and some other things involved, which we'll talk about later. But then the bank says, "Okay, Joyce, Steve, this is we're giving you this property to list. So now it's our time to go over to the homeowner and see what their intention is. The property's now owned by the bank. Do you intend to leave? Like, what's your intention? When do you want to go? Can we help you back? Like, what is the thing?
A lot of them are like, okay, in 30 days we'll give you, several $1,000s to leave the
That's
house.
the cash for
The
keys,
bank,
you were
yes,
saying.
that's cash for keys. Yes.
Broom swept clean, and you let us know.
Now, is there any laws or regulations in New Jersey that even after the bank takes it back, they still have to offer it? I know you said during the sheriff's sale they have the first right to bid, but even after the bank takes it back, do they still offer it to them to buy it, or no? At that point, it's like, sorry, you're out of luck.
At the sheriff's sale, like you said, they have those 20 days
Yeah.
that they can get it back. But after that,
So the banks, after 20 days, no matter what we're selling, we're putting up
There's
on the market.
a lot
Gotcha.
of things in life are negotiable.
Oh, of course,
I
yeah.
don't want to say it's
cut and dry.
Cut and dry. Yeah, cut and dry. Anything is possible.
Yeah.
So even after all that process, if someone hits the lottery and they still want to stay at the house.
Yeah. Yeah, you just call the bank and renegotiate. Yeah.
So anything could happen.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
I keep telling people all the time, the bank is not the bad guy.
Yeah, that's
the
what they
bank
think.
does
Yeah.
not want your house. They don't. Even people sit there and they say that, they don't want your house. I found out the hard way with talking to lenders. It's not good for just like we have credit reports, it's not good for them to have foreclosures. You know what I mean? Because that doesn't, even if down the road if they
Doesn't
want to
look good, yeah.
sell things or whatever, and they're, people look and say, oh, you guys got a lot of foreclosures. What are you not doing? You know what I mean? So a foreclosure's not good for them, just like, late payments are not good for us.
Gotcha.
Okay, so the bank does not want to foreclose. They're not the bad guy. If there's a way to stop this foreclosure and to save the house for the people. They want you to find it.
They want everything, yeah.
They
in
want
their
you
power.
to find it. Yeah, so they're rooting for you.
Yeah, of
they're
course.
not, you know, where a lot of people think, oh, these guys want my. No, they don't want your house. So know that from the get-go.
Okay.
All right, they're not the bad guys. So when we go to the house, and if we can do something for the homeowner to get them to leave easily, so that they're, you know, take their stuff and they go and it's broom swept and all of that. You know, that's the goal when it's occupied for us.
Okay.
Okay. If it's not occupied, then initially we need to go in and we have to change the locks. We have to go inside.
Winterize it.
You know, we have to go inside and see what needs to be done. The bank will do things to protect it. Okay, they're not making any repairs, but if it's, you know, something in there that needs to be immediately, water's leaking out of the sink.
So they will.
Yeah, especially on the condo that I have in Brick, which is bank owned, and we got it last October. We got there. The people they'd left a lot of things behind. We had it cleaned out, winterized, and prepped, and make sure that, you know, it's not a danger to the other units.
Oh, okay. So
But
health.
if the water
Everything
leak-
comes down to health.
Or
Yeah.
people walking in. They don't want people walking over.
Yeah, I'm sure,
Where
yeah.
I had one once where the people left everything. It's just like this room is. They just walked out.
Oh, well.
They had $4,000 skis and televisions and things
What?
on the wall. I mean, they just left.
Wow.
You know, so the bank then hires somebody. We are responsible for getting bids for that clean out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, so
Oh.
we
As
work with
part of a
contractors
team,
and
right? You've got to be able to work with the asset managers, and when they say jump, you say, "Oh, how high?"
yeah.
And then
asset manager is the person at the bank
Okay.
whose job it is to manage that asset manager.
Okay, gotcha.
those
They're
are the
saying.
people that are selecting
Thanks for jumping in to say.
selecting the agents to work with.
Okay, so that's how the agent. So let's jump to the agent side because that's kind of where we're going in right now. So the asset manager picks what agent or agency, I should say, is representing the bank to
Yes,
sell.
correct.
Okay.
And there's different organizations that teach realtors or hire
Guide them.
realtors. I don't know if I want to say hire,
No,
but
charge.
charge.
Charge is more the word.
Yeah, that's the word I wasn't going to say. But these companies charge realtors to be a part of them.
Get
They
outta
never,
here.
Listen, in 1990,
Yeah.
1985, when I did it, it would be how good of a job you did
Yeah,
on
of
the
course. I
last
mean, that's-
asset.
That would make
okay?
sense for that
Okay, well,
even
it's
now.
not that way anymore. Not that way anymore. It's like, how much money do you have to pay this company, this company, this company, this company? Because these companies go to the banks and say, we have people. But these companies, I don't know if the bank splits it with them. I don't know what happens. But we have to pay now to become
Wait, hold on.
realtors
Not to
in these companies in order for them. They get the properties from the banks and then they give them to us.
get the hell. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Let's take a step back. So it's almost like just paying for a lead service through like a Zillow or
to
Correct.
some degree.
get
To
out of
some
here.
degree. I mean, there are some asset managers who know us
Yeah.
and they'll give it to us because they know we do a good
Oh,
job.
okay. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But basically, it's become a business.
Wow.
that
oh
way,
my
you
god.
know.
Even all the homes out of HUD, you know, they hire Yari One, so you have to register with them. They don't charge us a fee, but you have to be registered to bid on these properties. We'll see what changes comes out of HUD with the new director.
You know what? I'm actually surprised, really, really surprised, to be honest with you, with it being in New Jersey, all the rules and regulations. I'm surprised it's not run like, you know, so when we order appraisals, you know, it goes into a database and the first appraiser picks that, right? Because when it used to be collusion with when Obama changed the rules,
Yes,
right?
yes.
I'm surprised it's not like that with REOs. It's almost like a new REO goes up, and the first person or the next person up, you know, so it's like randomized. It's not like favoritism or something like that, or who's paying the most money
Unfortunately,
for leads.
I don't want to say favoritism, but I think
Yeah.
you know, your experience with the asset managers,
Yeah.
because they're the ones responsible.
Well, once you're in, you show you do a good job,
Yeah.
like Joyce said. I mean, that's what it should be. You know, if you're a good basketball player, you should get drafted, you know, first round. I mean, that's how it should be. It shouldn't be who's paying, you know, the most money.
You know what? Like Steve said, once you're in and you're, you know, you do a good job, yes.
Yeah.
But there are these companies now that, you know, and sometimes even though we do a good job, we have to be a member of that company because the bank is going to be choosing. So that they will choose us because we're in there.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
But we have to be, you know, now it's kind of a paid thing.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's
So that's probably also too why though realtors stay away. because they feel like it's like gatekeeping.
It is.
Unless you know who you know or you
The
pay
easy,
for.
the easy, some of the, I'm not going to say easiest. One avenue would be is get to know your local bank, get to know who's controlling the who's the asset manager, and just get their inventory list and start selling those properties.
Right, because on
That's
the other
your
side,
avenue to
on
get
the
in.
other side of listing those, which again, we are responsible for that house. That house, we have to drive by every other day to make sure if it's vacant that nobody's inside,
squatting or something. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a huge responsibility as listing agents on those properties to make sure that they're maintained on the outside. In the summer, we got to make sure the grass isn't growing high, so we get tickets and summons and things like that.
Fines.
Fines. That's what I meant. Fines.
It's all right. We know.
But on the other hand, now selling these, okay, this is really why I want to do this course, because realtors stay away from the selling part of it because they think I'm not going to go.
Yeah, they much rather
too
just
much.
Everything you
It's
just
too
need.
much.
Let's bypass that. Just get a buyer and just sell it.
Yeah. So selling them it's a really good opportunity. Our broker Larry, and you know this, put some ads on Facebook for foreclosure buyers wanted. We got over 7,000-8,000
Yeah. It was
requests.
Yeah, it was a lot.
Okay, so and those folks, they may not know what a foreclosure is. They think it might be cheaper. Sometimes it might
That's
be.
all. Yeah, most of the time they just think they're getting a
Okay,
deal.
but when you sit down and talk to those people, maybe they're not going to buy a foreclosure. They'll buy something else. So for realtors, when they ask us on, to pay for leads, I mean, the pay for leads is 3 words for me: is foreclosure buyer wanted. Buyers call me, and I can determine once we're looking at the properties whether they want to buy a foreclosure or not. You know what I mean? So knowing all of this gives me an opportunity to get more leads.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, rightfully so.
So I'm always fascinated by the younger generation, and we do get a lot of inquiries, especially out of our group, and they're fascinated by the fact that I can pick up this house from the bank directly and go bypass the traditional purchasing ways, and it's always a learning process because it's changing.
Yeah, of course.
So it's something that they can jump into and have it part of their investment and retirement program. Especially when, and you know this, coming up with multi-unit buildings and families, and how the different avenues to gather some of those properties.
Of course.
Looking at 10X. 10X is a foreclosure, for commercial multi-unit buildings. And we can help facilitate on that also.
The opportunity to buy a foreclosure, yes, there are things that are very different than buying a traditional home. Okay, simply because when you do an inspection on a traditional home, you find XYZ needs to be fixed. The seller has to determine whether they'll fix that and if you'll change the price because of it. When you go into a foreclosure, it's all depending upon the condition. We do an analysis of that based on the condition of the property, and we tell the bank, repaired, it would be this amount. As is, it's this amount. So we give the bank 2 different properties. As is, based on the way we're seeing it. There's a hole in the roof. The people ripped out the sink.
Yeah.
This is the
copper's
as
gone.
is. The copper's gone. This is the as is condition. This is the price. Once it's repaired, and we need to do a repair value, once it's repaired, it's going to be worth this. So the bank has got to sell it at this price, the as-is price, because they're not doing any repairs. Nobody's going in there prior to the closing to do anything.
Oh, you're saying up front they know. Boom.
Up front, so up
Right.
front, the bank knows that this is the as-is price, and the homeowner, the buyer, is told this is the as-is price. But then you also need to know, if you're buying it as-is, you got to make all those repairs.
Yeah.
Okay. A lot of people say to me, how am I going to make all those repairs? I need all this money and everything. My goodness, the financing that's available, and it's just something new that came out with the 203K. Do you know that? So there's a loan called a 203K loan, which gives you the money to buy the house as is. They send someone in from FHA and from HUD and whatever to look at what is needed to be repaired, and they come up with a number. Okay, so they go back to the mortgage company and they say, this is the as-is price. we need $40,000 for repairs. In one property I just did, it was $450,000
For repairs?
for repairs. And that could be. So we need $40,000 for repairs. So the as-is price plus the $40,000, are we going to come to the repaired price, or are we going to be over it, or whatever? If it comes to that price or below, the financing, the company will give you the money to buy it, the money to fix it, and now just in the last 4 months, they will give you one whole year of payments added to it.
Wow.
So now you have one whole year of payments. So they're going to give you the money to fix it, money to buy it, money to fix it, and one whole year of payments to be in the property.
Wow, that's huge. Never heard of
huge.
that. That's new?
It's new.
That's
I think
crazy.
it's just since November.
We had a meeting.
Wow.
The club had a meeting last night. We had this gentleman on there talking about something similar to that through SBA. They have loans for multi-unit buildings. You know, if you have a commercial spot on the ground and 2 residential above it, and it needs $60,000-$70,000 worth of work, they can build that in on your loan.
Oh, wow. So SBA loans would
So
do
it's
rehab
SBA.
loans as well.
If it's
Right.
a business.
Yeah,
So
of course.
because FHA is for residential,
Yeah,
Right.
but sometimes they commingle. It gets a little complicated with multi-unit buildings being your business and your residence on top, and building up assets and equity in your properties, so you have a part of your retirement.
Yeah, if you go in that
some
route.
You have to have
Fall back on.
multiple revenues of income.
You know, it's always been in real estate, whether you're doing foreclosures or not, financing has always been the key.
Yeah.
It's always been the key. You know, and people tend to not look at that a lot.
Yeah.
You know, they like, well, this is my money. This is what I have down payment, what to do. And that's what I love about these foreclosures. And it definitely, for first-time home buyers, you know, because it is going to be sold for less. If there isn't some, and then so when they go in and fix that house, the repairs that are needed, you got all new things.
Well, it's funny. I was going to say, it's almost. I always used to tell my clients that it's like you get a brand new house.
You got a
essentially,
brand new house.
Yeah.
I mean, they're gonna do all the things. Of course, there'll still be some things that you'll have to do, but you're getting all these things done in there. So, you know, for first-time home buyers, even for move-up buyers, and of course for investors, you know, foreclosures is the first thing you should be looking at, which is.
Well, I always like to think it's a big part of the. 3 different types of investments you need for retirement. You know, you've got your stocks, you've got your bonds. I guess now there's 4th with crypto money.
we won't get into that. Yeah.
That's another.
But you know,
podcast.
real estate's always been one of the 3 main
Oh,
ones.
it's been
you know?
probably one of the
So,
bigger ones. I would almost say.
You know, we have avenues to try to help you get into those properties that are going to be unique, and you have to have a niche. You've got to have something that's going to say, okay, you know, there's this property, it's distressed, there's a reason why. What am I going to do that's going to be different? It could be just a lot of your own hard work, sweat equity, to get the house up and operating, so you can rent it out or live in it.
Yeah, of course.
You know, a lot of the being a realtor. If we get into that part a little bit, being a realtor, and so I'm sure you see it. All realtors do to buy leads from people who.
That's
You
what
know,
everyone
whatever
thinks,
they do to get those leads, and then you purchase leads from them. And, you know, sometimes I see all the time on the internet where they talk about all of our leads, you know, are good. And
Everyone's got the same spiel.
yeah, the same thing. Like,
My
you
leads
know,
are better than that person's leads.
15 leads, and they're all, you know,
it's awesome.
we guarantee 13 will turn into whatever.
Yep.
Lead generation is always the same. So, you know, it's like anything. You have a course or something, you have something, some people show up, some won't. With foreclosures, lead generation will always be there because people are interested. I've done seminars. I did a seminar in Madison Square Garden.
Whoa. There you go.
For, you know, not the whole place, but there was rooms in there. I always say it was Madison Square Garden. I've done seminars there with Craig from Los Pendants. You know, and the place was 60, 70 people were in there because they were interested. You know what I mean? And so at the end, so for lead generation, there's nothing better for me as a foreclosure agent than lead generation. And again, whether they buy a foreclosure, it may not be for them, but having the knowledge of financing, because all the financing, it doesn't always apply to foreclosures.
course,
Financing applies to anything. That loan we talked about, the 203K loan, is for every house, not just foreclosures.
Yeah,
So you
people
walk
realize
into
that.
something that needs some repairs, you could go with that loan and get the money to fix it. So, you know, being a realtor, the niche, he talked about a niche. You know, foreclosures for me has been a niche that, and I'm so surprised when we did our meeting in the office, and I said, you know, to the 119 people sitting there, anybody sell a foreclosure? Not one hand was raised.
No, that's what I'm saying. People stay away from it. It's like you know.
So we're going to be doing a course to teach realtors, and even new realtors, experienced realtors, you know, to teach them how and what the process is to do this. And I think it would be, you know, just monumental for people to know this as part of the business. Again, those sneakers that you're not selling, got to bring that whole line of sneakers in.
No, of course.
You know what I mean? To show, to let people know that this is available. And what we're seeing, New Jersey is up there in the States as far as foreclosures go.
Oh, yeah?
New Jersey, we saw in December, December, January, New Jersey was in the top 5. Sometimes they're in the top 2.
Whoa,
of states that are in foreclosure. They're saying, I saw a count the other day, 1 in every 1,300 homes in New Jersey
really
have some in some state of foreclosure.
Oh my God! Is that now, not to force you guys to give me statistics, but is that within like a short? Because you know some of these young couples, unfortunately, are taking loans out for like $500,000, $600,000 a house, and their mortgage payments are almost $6,000 a month.
Yes,
right.
Interest rates
is that
being high and
like the past 5 years? You know, they just buy because they're.
New Jersey's always been up there. I mean, it's never been a time where we've sat and said, okay, we're, you know, I mean, I think Arizona, what did they see at one state? I think Arizona is down there in numbers. Washington State is down there in numbers. But New Jersey, you know, we're metropolitan. You know, we have people in and out. Well, New Jersey's always in the top 5, and, you know, always, ever since I've been doing this.
Wow, that's incredible.
So
it makes
we have
sense,
foreclosures in this state that, you know, most realtors are not even.
So what you're saying is you need more realtors.
Agents.
Well, and it could be part of the whole judicial system where, you know, the velocity of the time it takes to take the property in New Jersey is minimum 2 years, where other states are non-judicial. There's I believe it's 22 states are judicial, and the others are not.
Okay.
So they can move quicker through the
Well, I was
process.
going to say, I think, for instance, I remember reading, I think Texas, it's like 60 days, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
They don't pay the banks like,
because they don't have to go
done.
through court. Being
We're done,
judicial,
yeah.
every single thing, like right from the moment they file that 30-day, that 60 or 90 days list pendants, that has to go to court. So every single thing that they have to send has to go through courts. Okay, and that's when the courts could say, no.
Yeah, of course.
But non-judicial.
Yeah, 60 days
Send
you're
the
on your
letter
paper.
out.
Yeah.
Send the
It's
letter
like repoing
out.
a car.
I don't want to talk
Like-
about the other states. I just know it's
No.
not
Oh, no, I'm just saying, it's pretty.
And that was part of the big problem with the GFC, you know, the great financial crisis. You know, they were selling these collateralized CMOs, mortgage obligations, all across the country to these institutions saying, oh, yeah, you can just take the property if they don't pay. Well, every state has their own guidelines.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
it was a fallacy on those obligations, selling them, and that obviously became apparent. And that's why we had
of
the
course,
crisis.
that's why we had the huge crash.
That was where the genesis.
It all falls down.
Yeah, of course.
But you know what? It's not really laughing matter at all for homeowners.
No, of course. Yeah.
For homeowners, you know, and to be able to just offer some kind of question and answer period, you know, just to have just to lay out what is possible and what, you know, can happen is what I feel is most important about what we do as realtors. You know, everybody talks about, you know, I'm number one, I'm number this, whatever.
Yeah, they
you
just
know,
care about
for
the numbers.
me, it's about the knowledge that people need that they don't have. We've done seminars for buyers, foreclosure seminars for buyers to come in and learn this process that we're talking about. And we one day, one of the reasons I started doing this was when I started to do foreclosures in 1985, and I had a buyer's seminar. I think it was like 87, 88, like that. Had a buyer's seminar I was doing. And it was new and unique. Again, this was our broker, Larry. And God bless that man. And so the Star Ledger was there. All the newspapers were there listening. And we were talking about foreclosures and how to buy them. And at the end, you know how when you do something, people want to come up and ask questions. So I said, okay, you can ask questions. So one gentleman I saw at the end, and every time somebody would step in front of him or behind him, he would get out and he'd wait, and then he'd go in the back. And then he kept going to the back of the line. So I'm watching this as I'm watching, and I'm like, he's got a question, an important question. when he got up and I said to him, I said, okay, so I'm anxious to know what your question is because you keep going back. He says, you know what? I'm not here to buy a property. I'm here because I'm in foreclosure, and I thought maybe I could get some thoughts about what to do and how to do it. And that's what, the light bulb went off in I'm like, oh my gosh, he had no idea. We've been sitting here talking about his property, not his specifically, but his property like his, and telling everybody how they can buy it. And meanwhile, he's sitting back there going, I want to save it. What do I do? What do I do? Thinking he could hear some things. And so that just set me on the road of, oh my goodness, there's people out there who don't know.
Well, that's why we're trying to spread the word of homesinforeclosure.com, because you're talking about how long ago? And still, people who are going to foreclosure, they don't.
30-something years.
They don't know where to go.
They have to do
they don't
is,
know who to call.
Right.
They're kind of, they
Go
feel like they're
into
stuck
Homes
by
and
themselves.
Foreclosure, drill down into some of the banners there.
Yeah.
And of course, you can always
just get in touch with you guys. Yeah.
And we can provide more detailed information.
I think we might do a podcast about that.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, one day we might do something so that people can see and hear. This way, they don't have to be embarrassed. I mean, being in foreclosure is an embarrassment.
Yeah,
for most people,
well,
which is why
shame,
they don't.
right?
Which is why this guy kept going in the back.
Yeah.
He
No one
was
wants to
embarrassed
admit.
about asking. Of course, nobody wants to admit that.
Yeah,
They
of
want
course.
the neighbors to know and things like that. So we might do a podcast about
Perfect.
it. So people could understand what options they might have. And
I think that's amazing.
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
I know we're a little bit over an hour. I think that now is a good time to tell people where they can contact you. I know we said about Homes in Foreclosure. They could submit, right? Get in touch with you. Do you guys have anything else to reach out to you?
Well, you know what? I think just, phone numbers, we can leave on the site and things like that. There's places to contact
if they
us.
go onto that website, we're going to keep like a carousel of active REOs that are being sold. There are a couple of different websites that are not charging that people could possibly get into. And if not, I have access to them.
Yeah.
That I could share some of the information and the properties on it.
Okay.
And
But still go to the
Plus,
website.
we have the on the website. We have Stop Foreclosure, so they can read about what is possible, and then to give us a call,
Gotcha.
so that we can sit and explain those opportunities to them. No obligation, no cost, none of that.
Yeah.
And then, of course, they can seek out an attorney's advice and
Okay.
just know where to go.
Yeah, but again, you're the starting point. You
We're
can
the starting
give
point,
those attorneys,
absolutely.
everyone, but even agents who want to get recruited to learn foreclosures.
Yeah, so
you guys are always
we'll-
looking for that too.
Just watch out. Anybody listening here, just watch out. In the next 2 weeks, we'll be coming up with the course, and
okay.
how you can learn how to get involved.
Yeah. All right. Perfect. We'll post about that for you guys.
excellent.
All right.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks so much for this.
letting
This was
us,
amazing.
Share.
Yeah. Of course. This
We
was
appreciate
great.
it.
Well, we'll see.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Tune in next time.
Thank you.